This is my belt, and it's too long. It's supposed to stop just above the knees.
I haven't tried to shorten it because I didn't want to mess it up. But now that I have my green belt, I have everything I need to do this job properly.
Looking closely, you can see parallel lines of stitching running down the length of the belt. There's a box stitch at the end, and the whole construction is folded, most likely around some sort of core fabric. But this bit, that concerns me. I unpick the end of the belt to understand what's going on with this construction.
If you're in a hurry, feel free to skip onto the sewing, but I find this stuff really fascinating. They've not just folded in this top edge and then folded in these sides and then closed it up and sewn along this edge. But when they've gotten to the end, what they've done instead is tucked it in underneath the fold, which gives a much cleaner finish to the belt. This is what I'm going to replicate on my belt.
First, I need to know how much to shorten the belt by. I fold it into the position I want and measure. Looks like 25 centimeters on this end, so I'll be taking half a meter off in total. A properly sized belt should be 2 times your waist, 2 times the length you want the ends to drop, plus 30 centimeters for the knot. I'd need a belt that's 270 centimeters long if I wanted it to wrap around twice. I mark the length I want with chalk and add 16mm for seam allowance. I then cut the belt. This is definitely a measure twice situation. I unpick the stitching about 5 centimeters from this new raw edge so that I can open out the belt. I then pull away any loose threads and trim the inner core to be the exact length that I want the belt to be. I press over one edge, then the end, and finally the other edge. Then close over the belt and tuck the seam allowance on the edge under the seam allowance on the end. This took a bit of fussing. I've grabbed a bulldog clip to hold this all together while I baste it in place for sewing. Pins won't be great for this much bulk.
You can totally hand stitch this, but for speed, I'm going to use the machine. If you do want to do it by hand, search double running stitch so that you can get that really nice clean look on both sides of the belt.
I start by putting the box stitch to finish the end and close up the open edge. I can then take out the basting and add the decorative parallel lines. In hindsight, I should have changed the stitch length to match what was already there. I've used this neon green because I like my sewing to stand out, but if you use a matching thread, this modification should be almost invisible.
I'm not the neatest sewist. It's not made better by the neon green, but I'm really happy with how this has turned out. It's now the right length, which is the most important thing because I'm no longer going to get whacked in the face when I throw a kick. If you've never sewn before and you're thinking about doing this is totally doable. Just take it slow, be prepared to take it out and do it again if you really want it to be neat, but nobody's looking that closely. And if this has got you interested in sewing, my channel is all about me learning to sew and has lots of beginner-friendly projects that you might be interested in. For those that know, I'm not back. This is not me coming back to doing regular YouTube videos. It's just that I was looking for this film that taught me how to shorten a martial arts belt and it hadn't been made, so I figured I would be the person to make it. I've thoroughly enjoyed making this little film, but I've also really been enjoying not filming my sewing. If you are curious, you could go to Oos Clothing and see what I've been posting up and see what I've been working on. I made this weird vest recently. It's terrible, but also kind of fun. And there was also that hoodie that you saw at the start of the film. That was pretty recent. I think that's everything I got to say. Have a lovely day. I'll see you in another 6 months when I decide that there is a film that I need to make.